Hey guys, Brandon here coming at you with another Fly Fishing 101 video, and today we're going to talk about tying your first fly. So I know in a previous video I had discussed basically everything you need to get started in tying flies and kind of what my setup is here. If you haven't checked out that video, link is in the description. Go ahead and check that out. But today what we're going to go over is tying your first fly. So I know for myself and many other fly tyers, this was my first fly that I ever tied, and it's an effective pattern for you to use on the water as well. So it's definitely nothing new to anybody who's ever been fly fishing before. We're gonna go over the San Juan worm, and it's a super easy tie. But I'm gonna go over all the different techniques to kind of help you as a fly tyer get into more advanced patterns. So that's the point of this video, not necessarily how to tie a San Juan worm. So jumping right into it, go ahead and grab one of your bobbins. We're gonna need that. Size 12 to 14 scud or emerger hook. I personally like emerger hooks because the shank of the hook is it's straighter when it comes past the bend, because the curve, it's a little harder to deal with for a new fly tyer who's trying to lay down some material on that. So anyways, I'm gonna go with the size 14 emerger hook, only because I just found out I'm out of size 12s. So we're gonna go with size 14. Let me just go ahead and get a few of these in my little cup here. Then we're gonna go with small red chenille. This is super easy to find at your fly shop. Every fly shop has it. It's a super cheap material. It's like $1 or $2, maybe $3 at the most, depending on how fancy you want to get with it. But red chenille, and I use UTC threads whenever I'm tying. So one of the threads that I recommend for anybody who's new to fly tying is the UTC 140, also in red. I say 140 because the 70 it's too thin, and you end up breaking your thread more often than not as a new tyer, and it's still small enough without it being too thick to become, cumbersome on the actual hook that you're tying. So definitely start with 140 when beginning, and then after you've figured out how much pressure to apply, then you can start playing with thread weights and everything. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and get your thread through your bobbin. So first and foremost, just go ahead and spread the tines of your bobbin and snap it into the holes. It's dead simple. So then I'm going to show you how to get your thread actually threaded through the bobbin. And so this isn't a technique that I would necessarily do on, say, like a bobbin you're sharing, but go ahead and get the end of your thread wet, just so that way all the strands stick together. Slide it in through the hole of the bottom. Once you have it started on there, just go ahead and gently suck on the end of your bobbin to pull the rest of your thread through. So now that we got our thread threaded, let's go ahead and get one of our hooks in the actual vise here. So your vise is adjustable. It comes with a nut here that screws, that tightens down or loosens up your jaws. I went ahead and preset mine for these hooks, but I will show you how you can tell if your vise is set up tight enough. So once you have the hook in there, you can do this and hear a little ting 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 sound, and it's not moving. That means your hook is, you don't want it too tight, because then you'll actually start nicking the hook, and then you'll have your hooks break in the water. So you definitely don't want your hooks breaking, but tight enough. So let's see if I can get that to pick up on the microphone. So that's how you know your hook is seated into your vise tight enough. And then chenille, going back to our chenille, which is the only material in this fly other than thread. What you're going to want to do is cut you off a section that's about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I prefer mine to be about 1 inch, a little bit smaller. That's just personal preference though. So we're just gonna go ahead and set that up. I love this tying bench, by the way, from Tie Wheel. It's definitely one of my better investments as far as fly tying goes, for sure. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna take our thread, put it off onto the front of the hook, and this is how you get your thread started on whenever you're tying a fly. So put it on the far side of the hook and go ahead and throw down some thread wraps as you're holding the tag end. And what that's going to do is you're basically just looping around that tag end, which is going to secure the thread to the hook. Now once your thread is secure, go ahead and trim the excess off and throw away the waste piece. This little trash can is super fun. Go ahead and bring your thread all the way to the back of the hook. I'm going to go ahead and do this a little bit slow, that way you guys can follow along. And so what I like to do is about where the barb is on the hook, and I'm going to adjust this so you guys can see the barb. About where the barb is on the hook is about where you want your thread to end. So let me just go ahead and back this up here. So see how it's hanging straight down right across that barb? That's about where you want to end your hook. So then, or end your thread wraps. So then what you're gonna do is take your chenille, hold it on the back end, and this part can get tricky. I understand. This is like one of the biggest issues that I had when I was tying flies. But the best way that I can explain to do that is hold it with your thumb on. So see how I can hold this with my thumb and it's not moving? Hold it on the far side of the hook and I just wrap around it 2 times. And now that it's on there, I can make adjustments because it's loose enough that it's not going to slide around all over the place. So go ahead and once you seat it to where you want, then you don't even need to hold it. Just pull a little bit harder on your thread, and there you go. Now it's secured in there. Then you're going to pull back the chenille, advance your thread by just wrapping it around until you get close to the eye of the hook, and then fold down your chenille, and again, just pinch it to the back of the hook with your thumb. You don't have to like do anything crazy fancy. It doesn't even need to look good while you're holding it. Go ahead and lay down 2 wraps, let go of the bobbin, and then just adjust. See? These are techniques that I've sort of picked up over the years from tying flies that nobody really shared with me, but it definitely helps get rid of how, kind of the difficulty level of at least, getting in there and messing around with it. Sure, the more difficult materials that you add in there, it is going to be a little more tricky to handle, but nothing can be undone, like look at that. Lay down your thread wraps till you're happy. And then we're going to talk about the old whip finisher. This is one of those tools that's hard to learn, but once you have it down, like it's super easy. So what you're going to do is you're basically going to create a backwards 4. So you're going to put, see this little like bend here in the tool, little bend. You're going to put that down on the thread and you're going to you're basically going to make it flat. And you're going to grab the other end with the hook right here. Once you have that, you're going to flip it. And see how it's making like an upside down 4? That's exactly what you want. Then you just go around 1, 2, 3. Then when you're done, you slide it to this bend right here. Slide that bend off and pull back on your bobbin to bring all that thread back up, and then you just slide the hook out. So once you have that done, take your scissors, go ahead and trim your thread. Put that back in your tool holder. Take your bodkin, which is basically just a needle. Then take your head cement. I've had this head cement for a long time. Label's still not even, it's not even on it anymore. Dip your bodkin in the head cement. And all it takes is one drop. So you just add one drop. There you go. And that is your completed fly. Give that a minute to go ahead and dry. Maybe blow on it a little bit. But that's it. That's your San Juan worm. Super easy. I'm gonna tie one at speed real quick here, just so you guys can see all of that one more time. Let's go ahead and get another hook. Put that on here. And go ahead and take our thread. Bring it back to the barb and the hook. Go ahead and trim. Throw away the waste piece. Grab your chenille. Advance your thread. And whip finish. Scissors, trim off the waste piece. Bodkin, head cement. And that's it. That's how you tie your very first fly. And we'll get into some more advanced fly tying as we go on, because I know there's people that watch our channel that are definitely into tying at a little bit more of advanced level, but you know, baby steps, baby steps. So anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this or check out some of our other fly fishing tips and tricks, head on over to our site at trueflysupply.com. Sign up for our newsletter. I try to send that out once a week, and see you on the water. Tight lines.